Hello students and parents. Welcome to your first online flipped classroom video for our Algebra 2 course this year. I'm Mr. DeBoer and you'll be hearing my voice a lot like this on these instructional video lessons that we're going to use for most of our instruction in this course. Parents, if you have any issues or questions, you can go ahead and contact me at jdebor@chatfield.k12.mn.us. I'll get back to you quickly with an answer to any of the questions you have. The most obvious question you probably have right now is, what is a flipped classroom? And that's why I've asked you to watch this video here tonight. The flipped classroom refers to taking a traditional classroom that you have seen for years, where you would have students come in, receive a lesson from the teacher, and go home and try to do their homework. Oftentimes unsuccessfully, because they get home, they may not have understood something, there's no one to ask. Hopefully as a parent you can help, but oftentimes at this point it's difficult to help your students with their homework. So the flipped classroom addresses that by using technology to create video lessons that will be recorded, such as this, where a student sits at home and watches their video for homework. So they're receiving their instruction time as homework. And in the classroom, they will be doing activities, assignments, working cooperatively with the people around them to make sure they're understanding the material that is in the videos. So it takes the traditional classroom and flips it from what you're used to. So in this flipped classroom, and the main reason why you would do this flipped classroom is it increases that time for contact between the teacher and the student. The student is getting the information from the teacher outside of the classroom and maximizing that teacher contact time in the classroom, where they're actually I'm addressing the needs of each individual student. So the student's responsibility in a flipped classroom. Number one, they need to watch the video before class each day. That means that is their homework. They need to get that done before the next class. So when they come in and we're discussing the material from the video, they have the ability to understand what we're talking about. Also, when watching the video, there's a lot of responsibility on the student there, because you need to write down any questions, things you didn't understand, things you feel need to be clarified. But also, the video is going to be a tool that the student needs to use to maximize their learning. And so there may be times where the video is moving too quickly for you, and you may need to use the pause button in order to give yourself a chance to write down what's on the screen, get things in your notes, or record a question you may have. Also, the videos will be shorter than a traditional lesson. I try to keep all the videos under 10 minutes. So that means there may be a couple fewer examples than there would be in a traditional classroom. So therefore, if you're an individual who benefits from some extra examples, you can always rewind, listen to a problem again, and see if it makes more sense going through the second time. And also, if by chance you would space out, not be paying attention for a little bit, you have that ability to go back and listen to that material. Unlike in class, where the teacher is not going to repeat themselves, you have that ability to go back and rewind the video just to make sure you're hearing everything you need to hear. So then the student will come to class after watching the video, and you'll work on your daily work, whatever that may be, an assignment, a group activity, whatever that may be. You'll work on that in class. You'll have an opportunity to go over answers from previous homework, and also to ask any questions from previous homework or the video that needs clarification. The big step for the student is this is going to require them to take responsibility for their own learning. There's no one there to know if they watch the video or not. There is no one there to know if they understand the things on the video. So the student is responsible for their learning. If they're watching the video and not understanding, they need to make sure they're asking questions so that I can help them. There's also a lot of responsibility on the teacher here, because as a teacher, I will have to create these video lessons ahead of time. I'll have to do this. I do all the videos myself, and I also have to set a test and a quiz date ahead of time so that students can work at their own pace. And also, the most fun part for me is I go from being a teacher to being a facilitator, and a facilitator is much more enjoyable for me because I'm actually addressing direct needs for each individual student rather than talking to a whole group where a large number of them may not be listening. I will be able to interact individually and in small groups with students so that I can meet their needs and make sure they're understanding the material. There are going to be some changes to performance expectations upon students and the pacing of this course from a traditional classroom as well. For each unit, I will post all the lessons for the chapter on the Schoology website that students will be familiar with at the beginning of each unit. So there will be test and quiz dates posted. The test and quiz dates will not always occur on exactly that date. They will never move forward, but they may move back depending upon issues that students may be having or any issues within the school schedule or things like that. But we're going to post dates in advance because each video will be posted for the entire chapter. So if a student chooses to work ahead, they could get ahead of their classmates. All units, all homework, and information for the unit will be posted ahead of time. So therefore, if a student chose to, they could go ahead on their lessons. However, the expectation is that they will be at least keeping up with one lesson a day. Our daily discussion time will be based on one lesson per day. Also, if a student chooses to go ahead, obviously that is going to leave some gap in time before the test. Students are expected to be busy during class time. Like I said, there's a lot more responsibility on the student. If they would need to get behind by a day because they have to work on another class, they're going to have that freedom to do so. However, they would be expected to make up that time. If they get ahead, they're expected to either work on material for other classes, read a book, or I will have some puzzles and logic games, things of that nature that they can be working on. We will go over classwork on a daily basis, so we will go over things for the day that they are scheduled to be on. The day after they're expected to do that work in class, we'll review homework just like we traditionally would to make sure they're getting a chance to check their answers and check for understanding and ask any questions they may have. The big change this year is something that I've always wanted to be able to do but never had the ability to do in a traditional classroom. Math builds upon itself so much that I've always had a hard time allowing a student to move on to another chapter when they've failed a test from the previous chapter, because obviously if they didn't understand that material, when we try to use it again in the future, it's only going to continue to cause a problem for them. So therefore, I have set an expectation that a student must score at least 70% on a test in order to move on with the course. So that means if they receive a grade lower than a C on a test, they'll be expected to go back, do more review, look at videos, work with me on an individual basis, and retake that test until they get up to a 70%. So because the lessons are done at home online and they're paced more individually, we have the ability to make sure that all students are meeting the requirements of the course. And so that should lead to everyone ending up with a quality grade, since everyone will have at least a C on each test. But again, that puts a lot of responsibility back in the hands of the students, because obviously if they spend a couple of days making up our previous chapter, they're going to have to work harder to get caught up on the next chapter. So there was a lot of information thrown at you in these last 8 minutes. So just to finish up, I want to reiterate that please email me if you have questions or concerns. This is the second year of doing these video lessons. They worked out very well last year, and I'm hoping for the same this year. The question to end with here is, what will tomorrow bring for you students? What will you be seeing in class tomorrow? Tomorrow you will be receiving a skills assessment in class where we'll do some problems of things that you're supposed to have covered in previous courses, see where we stand on that, and see what we need to review for this class. And then you'll have your first video lesson tomorrow night. It'll be a short video. Please make sure you're watching it. So again, if you have questions or concerns, please contact me. I look forward to taking this adventure with you and being here to help you along your way.